Hey there, everybody. I'm here with Barry from Boston, who is doing a reading with us and teaching our divine sorcerer how to interpret the cards and how to look at them in a different light. So, guys, please take it away.
Right. So what I'm trying to do with the answer to his question, which was, will he be able to do something with his business related to sorcery, his paranormal business? And he wants me to give him an answer on that based on one tarot card, but I'm going to intuit through the tarot card, not give a literal meaning to the tarot card if it were in a larger setup. So show me the card, please. It's
It's
there's
Six of Pentacles.
the Six of Pentacles.
Yes. I don't know why that's so blurry, but
Oh, and the pentacles are represented as unopened.
coins.
Oh, those are coins. They look
Yeah,
like
they're
unopened blooms.
they're supposed to be little coins.
And then they've got that berry. What's the flower on there?
I will tell you in a minute. Let's see if I have six of coins. Oh, it's a raspberry.
Perfect. Oh, those are raspberries.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So, very literally, the fruit is on the tree. Although raspberries grow on bushes, they don't really grow on trees.
Right.
And I'm more fascinating with what look like unopened blooms. So I think that we're going to use six just where it is in the sequence of numbers between an ace and a king. And we're going to put you in the middle of that journey, right where we see it. Now, look, being really literal to what I'm seeing on that card, we have unopened blooms. We also have thorns. Look at that. So the blooms haven't yet opened, and in order for you to get at them or to pick the raspberries, you have to watch out for the thorns. That's the literal meaning of what I see on the card. So for you wondering about your sorcery business, I would say that the business is laid out. You still are not done tending to it to get to where you want with it. And you will not be able to enjoy the fruit until you know how to get around the thorns. So I think that's actually almost the whole answer on what that is. So yes, there's still an obstacle in your way, and you still have to grow the thing because you're only at six out of 13. So you're not there. The blooms aren't open and there are thorns, but the fruit is on the bush.
So I'm halfway there.
So there you go. That's how I would read that. Brian, any thoughts?
What day are you on for the rite of transformation? What day? Mike.
For me?
Yeah, what day?
Halloween. I thought you were asking him.
No,
I'm on Halloween.
What
I
day
completed
are you on in your process between the rite of transformation?
He's saying Sunday.
You mean-
Sunday is Halloween.
4. I'm on day 4.
You're on day 4 out of a 7-day process.
And you talked all about fours last night.
Yeah, because the first 3 days were 4, which was kind of odd. You add 4, 4, 4, that comes up to 12, and when you take the 1 and the 2 and you add that, that comes up to 3. So there's your 3 again. It goes right back. It goes right back. On the 3rd day. And the card that I got was the card of banana, which was of the third gate for that day. Like, yeah. Yeah. It's like exciting.
Yeah. So the stuff that you're up to now in this process of transformation is quite literally reforming who you will be.
Right.
And one of the difficult things about it is because of the one who stood next to you.
Right.
Who doesn't. Correct. And so that interpretation of the card from yesterday identifies the who and the problem.
In fairness, I would love to see what that card looks like in the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the tarot card deck, because that might add something to it. Because that deck you have is very personal to you, but I
Yeah.
mean, for me,
It's-
Rider-Waite-Smith is a really easy read.
Which
Okay.
one was this? It was the 6, right?
Right. The
Yes.
6 of, did you say pentacles or
6 of Pentacles. Yeah.
Just freaking out. Where is the
okay.
Oh, I'm familiar with that card.
So this talks about, now if you look at that, look at where that puts you in your journey. That puts you in a position of power, but it doesn't put you in a position of knowledge or divination.
Right.
You have people kneeling, and they're obviously beggars, and they're looking for money. And so this talks about you being in a moment of where part of your obstacle is to make sure that you're not posturing.
Right. Right.
Brian, thoughts?
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. Remember, he's got the scales he's got to keep balanced.
Mhm.
Right? Like that's what spread represents. It's the knowledge behind
Well,
it.
in this case, the scales are not about balance in life, balance in anything. In this point, the scales are to see the worth of his gold. Of
But
his
I would still say that requires balance. You know,
it does.
I
It
would
does.
still say balance in that to make sure that power is stewarded properly, so it's not an authoritarian thing with it. I would
So
say that
this combined with the other card talks about one of the obstacles being in your definition to know that you're ready. In order to make your company work, you really have to know your company will work.
Right. Right.
and
And I know.
Good.
you know,
So there's two very complementary reads from the same card.
yeah, there's this question that I've got for you that goes,
Me, Mike, or me, Barry?
you, Mike.
Me, Mike. Okay.
Mike, uh, with regards to the path of transformation that you're on, and the
Right.
regards to the simultaneous timing of the great departure, right?
Right.
That's what I'm calling it, as the traumatic event in order to give it a class, right? We'll call it the great departure.
Right.
But there's something significant personally to you about that day. That you-
Yes.
and that ritual of realignment that you're doing, to literally face it down, and instead of deviate on a path of darkness, you're going to do something so sacred to yourself that you have literally been planning for 9 months, regardless of the shit that is going on around you. This is your focus. This is what your cards are telling you. Your business is the thing you're growing.
Literally what my tarot card told me this morning. I showed you the video. It's literally what my tarot card told me this morning.
Yeah. Like, it's all falling into place. Like, this is the thing.
Yeah, it's all synchronicity. It's all like, like I told you, I didn't just happen to meet you. I didn't just happen to read Oberon Zell's Grimoire of the Apprentice Wizard, like none of that just happened. I'm a hermetics teacher. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in cause and effect. I believe because I read that book, higher powers aligned me up to somebody like you to teach me
In
from that
high
book.
school, I started reading the 2 books about Pooh and Piglet that explain Taoist philosophy, and that also started me on a path. I mean, I still have the Tay of Piglet on my bookcase, and it's wildly brilliant.
I was,
Right?
I was,
And meanwhile, I'm also reading a book called Creative Quest by Questlove from the Roots crew.
Huh.
very cool.
That's really, really fascinating.
That's neat. Thank you. So, Barry, what would you say for folks that are looking to cultivate their inner awareness and to go into the kind of reading that you were demonstrating
Huh.
a little bit easier because you were able to achieve a period of separation and just matter of course to do this? And that's just after the years and years and years of practice. But do you have anything that you could recommend that gets somebody to start?
Yeah. What I would do is I would try to do a strictly intuitive reading on your own, then read the definition that you have. And then see how the 2 jibe and try to understand where you are standing in the way of your own intuitiveness against what it typically means.
Right.
Like do the reading before you read on the internet, you know what I mean, or from the booklet or a book, and then try to see
Mentally.
where they match up, and then try to respond to what within the sameness and the differentness of your intuition is to what you read the card to typically mean. Because you need to learn about yourself, what rabbit holes you fall into that block you from this is in everybody. It's just about tapping into it. So that would be a great way of just look at a card, think what it means in the context of reading or asking a question. And the question doesn't have to be about you. It can be about any fictional person that you pick. It can be, it doesn't matter. Just see how where you read it compares to what they do. See if there's repetitive patterns in your reading, and you're finding yourself falling down the rabbit hole. That's what I'd say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you guys are working together, as far as in your psychic states, now that I've got you both here, right? Mike, when you're tapping into these cards, right, and you've connected to them, and you're working through these new kinds of applications of connection, like you were in divine synchronicity, like you've proven that over and over and over and over and over and over again every day for months. Like all of your cards, damn fucking accurate to a level of precision that is absolutely perfect.
Are you speaking to me or to Mike?
To Mike. And with Barry, you're able to interpret from them in a freer sort of way. Okay. Now, would you say that you come at being aware of things, right? Mike, you're extremely intentional. Barry, you're not so intentional on how you structure your awareness in the day to make your alignments go, right? So what would you say to people that have a heavy reliance or don't rely enough on, or should rely maybe more on, the focus between using an intentional medium to sit down and take the time to say, this is the thing that I'm going to do, and then I'm actually going to go forth and do it, right? Like Mike is the guy that says, I'm taking the time to go forth and do it. You're just kind of like, I'm here, I'm psychic, I'm going, let's do it. Rock.
All right, curtain up, curtain up.
Right? So like we're doing this thing. It's like let's rock. So you come at this practice from two different aspects, but you're still doing the same thing. We're still having the same conversation with whatever it is.
Okay, I started out, if you asked me as a kid to picture a tree, I could only see the tree in 2 dimensions, like a drawing or a cartoon. I couldn't field any depth. So I was closed off from really seeing. It also made me a very poor student of geometry. And so what I learned from these master psychics, what I learned was that feeling about you, run with it. Get it out of your mouth before you can doubt it, because that's all this thing is. It's not more than that, but by God, it's a lot. So it's all about not closing off the thought.
Okay.
You know, it's all about staying open to your intuition, because that's the difference between an able tarot card reader and a psychic. Not every tarot card reader is a psychic.
Right.
That's what
I mean, 90% of the people who read my cards while we were sitting around a dorm room smoking weed were not psychic.
Right.
They were just reading, and they too would give you the card, and then sometimes they would look it up in the booklet. That book, the deck Brian has that's always my fallback. Although I do I love the water deck. There are several decks I really like, but I just, for me, it's just a bouncing off point for a psychic reading, and it's all about opening myself up to it.
I use this deck because my daughter gave it to me, and I thought, it's finally time to actually try and use it now that I'm getting familiar with the cards.
Yeah.
And there was another fellow that didn't have the cards that wanted to learn the cards, so I gave her my deck, and told her, "You have it. I'm going to use these." So I have these, and I have the Goetia Solomon deck.
So here's a great. Now, do I understand that you lost your daughter?
Yes.
Okay, so here's a really great exercise for you. When you look at one of those cards, here's another really brilliant training exercise. At least I think it is. What do I know? I want you to think, if your daughter did this picture and she showed it to you, what would she explain to you that the picture is?
Okay.
Filter it through that, because obviously you're not in the world of sorcery if you don't believe that your daughter's all around you.
Oh, I know she is. There's signs all the time I get. Like, that's why people, they ask me, they're like, "You lost your daughter. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, yeah, it hurts, but she's in a much better place. Like, she went home. Like, she's who she was before she came here. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so bring her into the conversation.
right.
Look at card. Add that as a third thing. What do I intuit when I see the card? What is the information say the card means? And then if my daughter brought it to me and said, "Daddy, I made a picture." How old was she? I don't. That may be an age inaccurate.
She was 19. 19, I believe.
19. Okay, so but her at the stage that you were most nurturing before she became a teenager who didn't need your help anymore.
Right.
I'm talking like 11. Just
13.
just on the cusp of puberty, you know, still very much daddy's girl.
Right.
If she said, Daddy, I made this picture, then what would the picture mean? Filter it through her, and then you have yet a third set of results for what the picture means,
Okay.
for what you can intuit from it.
All right.
It's a way to decode meaning if you structure the questions like a decoding process.
Right. Right. I'm good at decoding, let me tell you. Brian can tell you that. I can get into some decoding.
But it's interesting that you were mentioning that you have that you had the one dimensional, and then everything comes off of that for when you were a kid, Barry. And that's one of the reasons why I like the math so much, is because it allows us to put that physical action into those next steps. Like the math allows us to translate action into like we can do that, and so that's what I really appreciate
So
about
Brian, on a side note, while Mike is gone,
Yeah.
that world cruise is not going to go for me.
No.
They said, no, the job